For your first film, you were also casting for your own role.
Yes. And it literally came down to like me and this other phenomenal actor. And there were many a times that I was queuing her for her audition. I'm a very big Priyanka Chopra fan. I've been confused for her and I love her.
And because you seeded that in my head, I'm seeing so much Priyanka Chopra is nuts.
I did not see that in your head, but I also feel a lot of that could be because I admire her.
Rite of passage for a lot of people in Bollywood is that they've danced at inside Mannat.
We've obviously heard like legendary stories about how he'll come receive you, how he'll come drop you, and all of that is true. And there was literally a moment where I was like, okay, if Sir doesn't go in, my driver's not going to drive, because you know, what do you do? Like Shah Rukh Khan just standing there. But there was a point where I had to tell him, bas chalo aap, koi baat nahi, chalo, because you don't know what to do.
YRF, is there a spectre of Aditya Chopra around?
Sir is I'm scared, am I giving away?
No, it doesn't matter.
So do you see like I'm still like, am I talking a lot about Adi sir? I was Alice in Wonderland. Ranveer Kapoor just like walked into the room. He's like, hi guys. And I was like, I love this place.
And you've been a casting agent yourself. If I'm going to get someone to play a person who's dark skinned, I'll just get someone to...
There are already only those many opportunities that come your way. Right? How many are you going to let go of?
Lady Killer. Okay, Ajabal is a friend of mine. He directed it. Made at 45 crore and made less than 1 lakh rupees.
I know, but
What happened there? Hello and welcome to Sit with Hitlist, our completely unscripted conversation series. My name is Mayank Shekhar. With me is Bhumi Pednekkar. Rhymes.
yeah,
Is it right?
Mayank Shekhar, Bhumi Pednekkar. You're almost Maharashtrian.
Almost Maharashtrian, but actually fully Bombay person.
Yeah.
And like you, who's also
Proud
voted
Mumbaikar.
for the BMC elections.
Proud Mumbaikar.
So well done you, well done me.
Yeah.
And I really hope that there's some change that happens
Absolutely.
from whoever gets elected in these particular elections. Are you personally politically inclined as a citizen?
I am. I think I went through a phase where I was very apolitical, but then I realized that, I mean, we are a beautiful democracy. You need to have an opinion. You need to have a stand. Obviously, because when you're on the public eye, everything that you say and everything that you stand for needs to come from a place of responsibility. Yeah, I think I've, after many, many years, tried to form some sort of an understanding of where do I stand in the spectrum.
But would you be one of those, because you stand for this, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to put out this one particular tweet? It's not going to change the world, but it's going to have all these trolls and IT cells of political parties going after you.
I think my films do enough. So, I think my films create enough of enough noise, and I've always used my platform to do so.
Right, you always have a medium.
Absolutely, absolutely. Right from my first film. You know, I've been very clear that I want to leave behind. Legacy is a very loosely used word today, but I truly want to leave behind a set of movies that can be watched time and again. They'll be like, अच्छा कहीं ना कहीं शायद इस movie ने कोई conversation शुरू की हो. Having said that, I do use my social media platforms to express my opinion. And you know, especially about things that are very, very close to me.
Like, give me an
around the
example.
environment, animals, dogs. You know, I'm very actively a part of the conversation around the judgment about picking up our stray dogs.
Strays, yes.
You know, I have adopted quite a few, and I just don't understand that how is this the only solution, you know, especially in our country when there are so many other issues that we are dealing with. How about picking up rapists from the road? You know, why don't we start there? Which is a very big problem in our country. You know, in recent times, if you open the newspaper, you'll always see an act of sexual violence against a woman. And abhi to matlab, it's become, from a 2-month-old child to a 80-year-old woman, nobody is safe. You know, so I feel like we have a lot of core issues that we need to deal with first before having such iconic judgments passed for our strays.
Well, it's coming from somewhere, and at least there's a debate going on, and there is
At
another
least.
side of the debate also.
Oh, 100%, 100%.
So, yeah.
And there is space for that debate to exist.
Yeah,
you know,
that's
that is
important.
truly, it's been very incredible, because I've actually seen that debate being heard. I've not seen that a lot in the past.
Right. I think this is the first time we're doing this, right?
I know.
Yeah.
It's been 10 years. You've never spoken with me.
Maybe, I remember once for a television show, it was you and, I was thinking about it coming here, you and Tapsi when you done Sant.
God, that was yours. That was 5 years ago.
That was 5 years ago. I bumped into you at Soho House once.
Yes. Yes.
And I saw you last on the screen this morning, which is Dal Dal. You just began watching this show, and it's quite something. I mean, you play DCP Rita Pereira.
Yes.
And there's obviously a show created by Suresh Triveni, who's made Jalsa before, who's made Tumhari Sulu before with Vidya Balan. Firstly, let's get into that. Like, how did you get into this part? Do you have a process in the sense of there's something that you do before every film once you get a script?
I think it varies and it depends on what the script needs me to do, but I definitely do have a process. When I started off my career, I was method about everything, and then I realized that every process does not have to be the same, and I kind of developed the ability to evolve with what the movie needs, and it's just not about what the film needs, it's also about the makers that you're making with.
Who the director is.
Many a times when I would get so intense, they're like, but it's not needed. Why do you have these questions? Why do you have to be one question mark? But I'm like, look, that is who I am. But fortunately now technology has evolved a lot, so there are a lot of there's a lot of thinking and there's a lot of questioning that I do with AI.
AI, really? Like you have a full conversation with ChatGPT. What would this person do?
I do.
Yeah?
I do. And I use it responsibly.
Okay.
Because it does have an environmental impact, but I do use it. And
so like how would you use AI to play DCP Pereira, for instance, if you did?
The thing is that I've trained the machine so much with the way I think, with my ways, my beings, what my life is about, the way it's going.
So the machine
it's
knows
really,
you,
the machine knows all of us,
right.
And I was like, okay, this is inevitable. I rather use it for productive things in my life, and I rather use
the paid version of ChatGPT?
I have the highest paid version of ChatGPT. Also, it's really cut a lot of useless, time wastage, clerical things out of my life, because I've also started my entrepreneurial journey.
Right.
So a lot of emailing, etc. I'm just like, okay, fine, help me draft an email. Blah, blah. It just happens.
It's incredible.
A lot of clerical things.
I was reading this piece by Raghu Karnar just last night about, this was a piece on archaeology, completely different, but he got interested in this boy who's written a Medium article. It's sitting in Kurukshetra. He reaches there to meet the boy, and then he realizes that the boy is very different from the piece he'd written. And then the boy is surprised that this writer uses a keyboard. So what's a keyboard? He used AI. So it's a whole piece. It's a very heartfelt piece.
I would love to read it actually. Please do share it with me.
I will share that piece with you. But it's amazing what AI is doing to us, where they know you, and now you can just do things like a...
I had attended a course last year. I was in Boston, and it was around AI. We had a 2-day, not a seminar, but our classes for 2 days were all around AI and how it's evolving every day. And I was like, okay, fine. If I do have a disruptive tool handy, easily available to us, something that's completely democratized the society in many, many ways, then how is it that I can use it for my benefit? So specifically when I was prepping for Dal Dal, the technology wasn't very smooth then, the way it keeps getting better. In the last 1 year, it's just exponentially gone somewhere else. But what I would do today is that I would never put in the script in the machine, because I feel like that's just not okay. Then it's going to be available for a lot of people to access, because you don't have control over that. But I do, so my general process would be where I would kind of make notes about what the character's past is. Why is that character taking the kind of decisions it's taking, especially for a show like Dal Dal, which is so complex and complicated. If I was to use AI to benefit or just help me kind of brainstorm a little on my character, it would be more about whatever information I have from the script, feed that, and then the machine gives you a perspective, which also kind of goes into my personal traumas, which it has probably somewhere recognized. And then it's just more about and it's my choice, how much of my personal trauma do I want to put into this character. So it's a very interesting process where you unlearn.
Your friend and the character you're playing.
It's all in there.
Conversation with each other.
It's all in there.
Would you done your roles very differently if you had the same access to AI before? And I'm asking this question because I do not know any female actor, up till now, who's played roles so far away from who they are.
Oh yeah,
you know.
absolutely.
And the first time I met you, which was so, I was like, that's the person? Are you kidding me? You know, and that's, I mean, of course, kudos. Because
Yeah.
that's what actors do. And that's a conscious choice you made. Was that a
Yeah.
conscious choice you made? Because
100%.
that's the fun of being an actor, right?
Honestly, my first film was not a choice. It happened to me, right? I would have like chopped off a finger if that was needed. Gaining weight was easier for me. I would have done anything for that film, but that film kind of gave me perspective on the kind of career that I want. I also realized that I'm entering an industry which is very crowded, which gives you very few opportunities. So at the start of my career, I was only trying to make place for myself. I was trying to make sure that every decision that I make kind of creates a very concrete base for myself. I got very lucky that those films worked. You know, I also am a person that wants to create impact, and this is not just since I became an actor. That was the case always. I was that child that would go collect chanda every time there was a national disaster. That's just the way I've been. And then I just found this beautiful outlet to express myself through my movies. Nothing has changed, you know, it's still the same process, but through the
But when
years.
you do your first film, Bhumi, and this is a person who is not that person, clearly, in furthest, in the sense, not just the weight part of it,
Yeah.
but also the world part of it, right? I mean, that's
Every
not a
part
world
of it.
you knew at all.
Yeah.
I'm guessing this was Haridwar, Rishikesh.
In the 90s.
In the 90s.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not a world you know at all.
No.
And which is why the AI part would have been easier if it just fed a
100%.
lot of those things.
It's a tool, right?
Yeah.
It's such a great tool that you have handy.
Yeah.
You know, and also, instead of going to a lot of people that might not be helpful, trying to research today, I have everything over here. It can take me to the moon and back. But then you need to have the intelligence to understand what information you want to stay with. It's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
internet,
That
man.
choice
It's
is
like
yours.
it's
Yeah.
like not
Always been
using
the
AI
case.
is like not using the internet. It is technology that's been given to you.
Yeah, because I've been put out by ChatGPT, but I use the basic version
Yeah.
for as a search engine,
Yeah.
and gets it wrong each time.
Yeah.
And then I've said, bro, you're wrong. So I'm so sorry, and then I'm like, dude, it doesn't work like that, you know. And
I
instead of
hear you.
writing, I may just
I
put
hear
that,
you.
right?
Yeah.
But the point I was trying to get at, Bhumi, is that when you play that role that is so far away from you, and this is your first role, the world doesn't know you. The film industry also doesn't know you in that sense. Was there a fear that, you know what, I'm going to be this overweight person for the rest of my life because that's what everyone's seen me in their first film?
No, I did not have that fear because I had a lot of clarity that if I'm gaining weight for this film, I have to make
You
sure
have to
I knock it
immediately
off.
lose it as well.
And I did.
Yeah.
I knocked off when the film, when we had our premiere, I was about 30 to 40% of that girl was gone. And I had blinders on, Mayank. I was like, I want to be a successful movie star.
Right.
That has always
This is just the
been.
entry point.
This is just the entry, and that was always the ambition and always the dream.
Yeah.
When I decided that I want to be an actor, I wanted all of it. I wanted the fans, I wanted the love, I wanted the obsession, I wanted the awards, I wanted the interviews, the money, the success, the fame, all
Your
of
photo
it.
in the back of a rickshaw.
100%.
In the back seat of the rickshaw.
All of it, right? Along with good movies. And that's something I realized after my first film.
Okay.
Right? I was not as craft oriented until Dam Laka Ke Haisha happened. I was always told while I was casting, you know, with Shanu and Abhimanyu Ray, who was my first boss, that, you know, you're a good actor, you should think about it. But I always dismissed. I said, no, I don't want to act. But I always did. That was
Yeah,
my
you just wanna
strategy.
say it.
Yeah, because nobody would take me seriously. I didn't really look like the girls that were on screen then, etc. Whatever. I've spoken about it enough. I always knew it. I was like, okay, if I'm doing this for a film, I need to be able to knock it off and be ready for whatever comes my way. Look, opportunities are going to come, but if I'm not ready for those opportunities, what is the point?
You train for them.
You have to.
You rehearse for them.
You have to. And through my decade-long journey, I think I went through so many transformations that in the past few years, I kind of forgot who I actually am. How do I look? Who is this girl? Because for me, the only way to survive the industry was that, okay, I need to go through a physical transformation. Because no other girl is doing that. Nobody else is doing that. So if I'm playing a 70-year-old woman to like
That's Sandkiyak.
Sandkiyak,
Right.
you know, and to like Bala, which commented on color bias in our
Yes.
country, and I was constantly just
But do you
shape-shifting.
think at some point you may have even, you know, gone a little extra in the
100%.
sense that, you know what, and you've been a casting agent yourself. If I'm going to get someone to play a person who's dark skinned, I just get someone to
I
who's already dark skinned,
completely agree with you.
right? Wouldn't that be the
If
right
I
way to go?
was-
Just
if-
cast right?
If I was making that film,
Yeah.
I would do that, but by the end of it, it is the director's choice, it is
And
the
they wanted to cast
producer's
you, and
choice.
why would you say
and
no?
why would I say no?
Yeah.
Do I not want to create opportunities? I do, and I really do hope that whenever I start producing, the environment and the kind of films that I make would kind of create those opportunities. But at that point, it's so exciting for an actor. And this is just not in India, this is globally as well.
Right.
Like if you look at some of the top actors in the West, they are constantly shape-shifting
Yes,
and
absolutely.
changing,
Yeah.
going through physical transformations, playing
But
people
there's usually
from...
a backlash because it comes with.
Oh, yeah,
with a
I've
certain
had it.
history behind it. You had it for Bala, right?
I had it for Bala.
In the same way that, say, perhaps Priyanka Chopra had it for Mary Kom.
Correct.
You're casting someone for a role in the Northeast, pick up a star or make a star from the Northeast instead of Priyanka Chopra. But it's not Priyanka Chopra's fault because if she's in the film, that automatically becomes a bigger film.
Yeah.
And why should she not want to play Mary Kom?
And the thing is that there are already only those many opportunities that come your way, right? How many are you going to let go of? Because if you're somebody that already has a strong moral compass, there's enough work that you're saying no to.
Already.
Right. And there's enough work that I've said no to, like, films that I've gone up to do like 300, 350
Really?
crores, but I did not align with what I was doing in the film, right? Because
These are
it
your
takes
Mata
a
movies?
lot. Yeah, your mainstream comedies, whatever, right? I don't want to get into the details of those. But I have to run my house, and not just run my house. I want my career to move on. I want
You want
everything
next
that
job.
of course, so how much can you say no to? What all will you say no to?
So after Dam Laga Ke Haisha, you did Toilet Ek Prem
Yes.
Katha. That's 2017.
17, then there was Shubh
Right.
Mangal Savdhan,
The
Last
Shubh-
Stories. there
But
was-
the second one was even bigger.
Yeah.
In the sense you had Akshay Kumar in
Yeah.
it. It was like 100 crore plus film.
Yeah.
Dealing with sanitation,
Yeah.
toilets, for God's sake. I have a sense that there was that phase and it's died.
100%.
The phase of the middle of the road, which is also mainstream.
Yeah.
Do you miss it?
I miss it. I miss it so
What happened?
much.
Did the pandemic happen?
I think the pandemic happened. Also, everything within the Hindi film industry is so cyclic. I think right before a Band Baja Barat or a Dam Laga Ke Haisha, Vicky Dono, all these films happened. Right before that, we were going through a phase, I think similar to what we are going through now, where we, like Naisif Spectacle Chalegi, you had these huge, like multi-star family dramas and these huge action films, comedies, for example. And then suddenly there was a small little film that came with newcomers that kind of changed the way movies were written. I think that's happening now again. In the middle, there was a complete lull. The kind of films that I do and the films that gave me the name that I have, the audience that I have, stopped. And I was like,
Stop being made.
Stop being made.
Period.
And I was like, what the am I going to do now? Because, you also don't believe in it, but you still kind of find your gems. I was like, okay, I still had the opportunity of working with Anubhav Saw on 2 films, for example. Bheed and Afwa, nobody watched them.
Right.
Then even that genre was shot.
And both decent films. And I'm sure people can still watch them on OTT platforms,
Absolutely.
right? That's a conversation I had with Ayushmann Khurrana.
Yeah.
And you've done a fine trilogy
Yeah.
with him, Bala, Shubh Mangal Savdhan, and of course the first
Dam
one,
Laga Ke, yeah.
which is Dam Laga Ke Haisha. And he said that, because everyone needs to recalibrate.
Yeah.
And his point was that there are 2 kinds of films that he's done, taboo and quirky. Quirky stays, taboo now OTT.
Is over. Yeah.
OTT for him.
I still don't understand the divide, honestly, because I feel like a good film will be watched. I'm still hoping that the theatre
One film will
experience...
change it.
I think so,
That's what
man.
happens, right?
But also like if you see what happened with Lapata Ladies, correct me if I'm wrong, because you also have a lot of idea about data and monies. I don't get into that ever with any film. It didn't have a very successful box office run,
Yes.
but then it came on to like
It was watched
an
by more
OTT
people on Netflix than those who watched Animal.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
Or what's
yeah.
happening with Huck, for example, right now. I think it
Yeah.
had like a similar fate where it's really being celebrated. But my truest, deepest wish, if I was to wish anything, we've just started the year, is that people come back to theatres, man.
Right.
I miss
And not
it.
for the same kind of films.
No,
Yeah,
not
for
for
all
the same.
kinds of films.
Absolutely. And what was Kunal Khemu's film? It was this comedy that came
Buncombe
last
Express.
year. what was
Madgaon
it?
Express?
Madgaon
That was
Express.
crazy.
It was crazy. And it
Yeah.
was watched. And I'm
Yeah.
hoping the same for Veer's film as well. I haven't
Happy
seen
Patel
it.
releases
Happy
tomorrow.
Patel,
Yeah.
you know, I really hope it does extremely well. But anyways, I'm being very optimistic about it. I think there'll be something that'll just
So you're saying
change
that
the
even
game.
those scripts dried up for them to land on your inbox.
Yeah.
Would that be correct?
In many ways, it wasn't the kind of work that I was used to. And then I was like, okay, if I have to
So what do
play
you
the
do?
game.
I know what Ayushman Khurrana did, which is Thamba.
I don't know,
But
yeah.
What do you do?
I go
in
to a
that situation?
Royals.
Huh?
I go to a Royals.
You go to the Royals, yes.
Yeah, I go to a Royals. I was like, okay, fine. I'd never done a longer format. And I was like, okay, this is my attempt at doing something that is probably that fits into the more popular segment of what the audience is used to seeing. And it was fun. I was like, okay, let's give it a shot. You know, but I am waiting
And
for
widely
the day.
watched.
Widely?
And like immediately got a second season.
Well, yeah, it was very widely watched. I was in Turkey recently in transit, and there was like a group of like these teenagers that came towards me, and I was like, okay, forget it. I'm
No,
not
no,
gonna.
carry on.
So a lot of times, and I say it like in the nicest way, I'm a very big Priyanka Chopra fan, her and I
Yeah.
also share a birthday, and 1-2 times traveling internationally, I've
guys
been
share a birthday
confused.
too?
Yeah, we do.
Oh, wow.
I've been confused for her, and I love her, and by no means, I think we are like we are individuals, but I do love her, and I think she knows that really well. And I was like, you know, are they confusing me for her? Because, you know, my films have done well, but I've never really had an international audience know who I am.
Right.
Right? That's like the ultimate dream for
Yeah,
an actor.
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
just want to be working within this language. I want to work across markets, right? Anyways, and they
So
came
you're
up to
in Turkey,
me.
you're in Istanbul airport,
I'm at the airport and I'm running because I'm late, okay? I'm in transit and I'm like this crazy girl with like a big bag, a stroller, and I was a mess. And they're like, and they're running towards me, they're like, are you from the Royals? And
Oh,
I'm
wow.
like, what happened here? And I was like, yeah, they click pictures. It's sweet, and it's happened with me a lot actually. I was in LA recently and I entered a very, very fancy private members club, and this beautiful lady at the reception, she's like, I've watched your show, I really loved it. I was like, okay. See,
Very
that's
non-desi.
non-desi,
Right,
like
right.
nowhere close to desi, but desis you're used to it,
Yeah,
right?
of
They see
course.
your movies.
Yeah, yeah.
This is a group of people that wouldn't know what Indian films are, what Indian content is at all. And honestly, a very big reason I also did the show was because I felt like the show would cross over because of Rajasthan,
Correct, correct. It's
palaces,
got the exotica as
royalty,
well. Yeah.
exotic looking people,
Yeah.
right? All of it. And well, I'm glad it did, or it would have really broken my heart.
Right. So that's your move at the moment,
Yeah.
which is, okay, this is what's going on in theatricals. Hopefully the scene will change. For the time being, at least let's continue working. Let's pick up better roles
You know,
on
Mr.
global
Anil
platforms.
Kapoor told me something that, beta jo bhi ho, I did a film that he produced called Thank You for Coming.
Yes.
And I was on my way back from TIFF and he told me, beta jo bhi ho, kaam karte rehna. He's like, you are an actor. An actor needs to keep working. You don't know when what clicks, what doesn't click, but you're an actor. And you will always
best
have
advice,
work. And I'm like, yeah, he's right.
But
So
this is
I'm
something-
just doing the best I can.
Yeah, but an actor can only act,
Yeah.
right? And there are 500 people who make
Oh,
that
yeah.
film.
Oh, yeah.
And those variables are not in your hands.
Not at all.
For instance, you could be doing a Karan Johar film, Tux, where you're going to be the lead, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Just feels like shit, right?
It did, but at that time there was so much happening in my life that I didn't really realize what
Okay.
that film not happening could like. It's a big opportunity that didn't happen, but there were also like 5 more with me. I'm sure all of us felt the same. Also, the pandemic had happened, but I would love to work with him. I love his films.
Yeah, of course.
I also really admire Karan as a person. He's actually he's an individual that I keep reaching out to time and again every time.
Karan
I'm like,
Johar is everybody's best friend.
Yeah,
He's been
yeah,
established.
yeah, he
Every
is.
single person who sat there has told me
really?
best
I'm
friend.
sure because you know he.
Unimaginable how he managed.
Mayank, he truly cares about what's happening in your life. You know, there hasn't been a single time that I've texted him and he hasn't replied back to me within a respectable time frame. And there might be times that I don't reply back to people, not because I don't want to, because I'm forgetful. But that man isn't, right? And I really appreciate him. And I mean, it's cool, right? That's why he's loved.
Yeah, like there's another podcast that we do called the Bombay Film Story, and we had
Right.
Neha Dhupia saying exactly the same
Yeah.
thing. that, you know what, if I call him up in the afternoon, he may be busy in a meeting, immediately call back.
Yeah.
And so you just call back? Yeah, because you called.
Yeah.
What happened?
True story.
And to be able to do that with that many people,
Yeah.
and you know, that wide variety, it's incredible. Is that something that you think is very important also in show business? To know people, to sort of connect with them, to sort of feel like a fraternity, is that important?
I think to feel like a fraternity is important. I don't know how much of that spirit do we truly imbibe. Because there have been like many a times that I've felt like I don't really belong here.
Oh yeah?
And yeah. Many a times, because I think I don't want to bring the whole insider-outsider debate. I think a lot has been spoken about it, enough to not benefit anybody that works in the fraternity. But there are certain systems that you might not know how to navigate, right? And it takes years of being in it to understand, oh, this is how it works. Especially when you've seen failure. And I saw failure pretty late in my career.
Which is when?
You know, I think, oh my God, I think the first time a film, I mean, I'm not going to really, Son Chidiya was the first time that I felt it, but for me, it's one of my biggest successes, my biggest career successes. So I'm not really going to put it in
but
that
in terms of theatrical box office numbers,
I think
that?
Yeah, it was in 2023, which was like 8 years into what I was doing, you know, where a film of mine wasn't accepted. Obviously, also had COVID in the middle, etc., etc. And then, you know, suddenly through your career, you're taking decisions and everything's working, right? And then suddenly nothing is working. And then you're like...
So 2023 is when you're saying you first saw failure?
I felt it, you know, and you feel very lonely when failure hits you because you don't belong to a certain system. And because you're not prepared. I mean, I obviously had my mom and my sister and my friends, but they don't know what to do in this scenario. The best they can tell you is that it's okay, you know, everything will be okay. And you believe everything will be okay. But then you suddenly start seeing...
like what's going on?
Things changing, right? Like conversations changing, because it's really crazy that you've built a certain reputation over 8 years of working, of putting in your heart and soul, and you've done the same, but it did not click. You know, and it's not the actor's onus alone. But I feel like a lot of that brunt is bared by the people leading it. And maybe it's also fair because we also take a large chunk of, I mean, not women, not women. Yeah, we do, right? So I'm like, I get it, but it gets very lonely. And I think it's moments like so that teach you a lot about who you are as a person. And I've realized I'm very resilient. I have been since I was a child. And that's when I was like, okay, it's fine. Get up, look for whatever next you can do best. However you can, I mean, my biggest attempt in life is how do I not let my experiences while I went through failure turn into bitterness, and I don't want it to affect the purity of my craft. That is my only attempt in life, because my honesty towards what I do is my superpower that is going to help me sail through the rest of my life, because I will die in front of a camera. I mean, I hope I don't literally die in front of a camera, but, you know, I'm being filmy about it.
You mentioned 2023, and the one film that I can think of, and it's there on your Wikipedia, is Lady Killer. Okay, Ajabal is a friend of mine. He directed it.
I love him.
Yeah, he's a great guy, of course. But, you know, it's there on your Wikipedia. It says, you know, biggest box office flop of history. Made at 45 crore and made less than 1 lakh rupees.
I know, but
what happened there? And now it's been long enough that one can
I can, and honestly there's no reason why I shouldn't. I mean, but you know what, it doesn't say that it wasn't really, the script that we read was a complete script, and there was a large part of that film that wasn't shot, that was put out. So there was an incomplete film that was put out.
How does it even happen?
I don't know. And again, I'm telling you, I wish I knew better, because I feel like if I was somebody that belonged to these systems, I would have maybe figured out a way, maneuvered it better. But I was in shock. I was like, what is going on? Because it is, nothing like this has ever happened, I don't think.
To anyone for that matter.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, fine. There is a learning over here. There's an experience over here, and yeah.
So basically, you read a script, you know your schedule, but those dates never came, and you never shot those portions?
We did not shoot about 35 50% of the film.
How does that even happen?
I don't know.
So
I
they never got back and
genuinely
say, listen, now you need to shoot
no,
these
I
parts.
genuinely don't have an answer for you because it's such a big mystery to me that I suddenly was just told that the film's being released. I mean, obviously it did like go on. I mean, I think what I was told that the film did go over budget and it was kind of stretched out and it went on for long, blah blah. But I don't know where do we fit in this equation because none of those things happen because of any of the actors, right? And it's not the only time that something like so has happened to a film. I mean, honestly, it was a very heartbreaking, very, very, very heartbreaking time in my life. I was finished, man. I mean, I just didn't know how to recover from that. Because how are you gonna go? Who are you gonna? How? What do you go tell? And these are also people that you work with. I'm still working with, you know, the names that were associated with the film. I really hope I do another film with Ajay. We're already speaking of something because I don't think any of the stakeholders. It was just.
It was nobody's fault, and that's what happened.
No, I genuinely, Mayank, don't have an answer for it. It's such a khichdi in my mind. I'm like, okay, did I contribute to that happening? Did somebody else contribute to that happening? But it was a decision that the makers took at that point because they felt that's the right thing to do. It was also a time when we had not really recovered as an industry from everything we went through during COVID, right? These are producers that were in debt, that had lost so much money. It was just a mess. I just feel like we've kind of found our footing now.
Yes.
You know, after all of those years. I'm anyways just going to take it as a dark period of my life and I've moved on, and thus there were lessons in there. But you know what amazes me is that public perception is one thing, right? But within the fraternity, people know everything, right? Yet they want to believe the perception that's being created. So for me, again, this was a lot of learning, unlearning, understanding that the only thing that I have, and it's again Anil sir's words that keep coming back to me, tu actor hai. Tu actor hai, tu actor hai. I said, that's right. My job is to do whatever at that moment is the best piece of content that's come my way. Because I'm not in the rat race. I cannot be in the rat race. I tried it, but there are people that are very well padded. So I need to create something for myself. And that's exactly what I'm trying to do I want to create a genre for myself. I think I pretty much did. You know, I think I just need to fuel it a little more.
Right, and a lot of things are not in your hands, like Sonchiriya for that matter, right? I want to touch upon Sonchiriya because I was watching a conversation with Abhishek Chaubey recently on video, and because there was one fanboy, you know, interviewing both the writer and the director, and that's when I realized, my God, this was such an amazing film that thankfully people are talking about it now.
Yeah.
They didn't talk about it then, and there was you, there was Sushant.
Yes.
I think one of the last films of Sushant.
Yes.
We saw the kind of love that Sushant had, but clearly that love did not translate to box office numbers at all when the movie came out. What was that like? That's also the furthest you've been in terms of a role.
100%.
Right?
I think it is my finest performance. Toughest. I'm so tough on myself as an actor that I don't enjoy anything that I do. But Sonchiriya was probably the only piece of work that I've really deeply enjoyed, and I was like, okay. You know, pat on your back. Actually, even Sandkyak, I really enjoyed Sandkyak as well. But Abhishek Chaubey, man, he's a beast. And he's a very gentle beast. He's very kind.
He's not an aggressive dude, yeah.
No. He's kind, but he pushes you. He pushed me. It was 8 months of me just preparing in Aramnagar, at his office, walking that Aramnagar ground, you know where his office is, right? Barefoot with like 5 ghadas of water on me because I had to carry that little girl with me through the film.
Yeah.
Just training. And just like on the language, I had to learn Bundelkhandi. There was just so much I had to do. He literally NLP'd me into being this woman. There was a point when I was shooting Sonchiriya and it was a very male-dominated set because there were like these bagis and just the actors, the cast. And I was conditioned to feel lesser constantly for the character and just not to feel safe and to be like just alert all the time that even between shots I was being that person. It took me a very long time to get out of that character, but probably one of my best experiences. I am waiting for somebody to take me into an experience like so, because even that doesn't happen now. There's nobody who will give you 8 months to prepare for a film. There's nobody who's going to put in that, like the kind of energy, maybe even finances, effort. Who does it anymore?
And the producer, right?
And the producer.
Like, if I'm not mistaken, Ronnie Screwvala is the one who pushed for your name at the time.
Yes. Ronnie pushed for my name at that time, and I'm really, really grateful to him that he did. And yeah, man, it's a very happy memory for me. Also, I found a great friend in Sushant then.
Tell me more about it.
Dude, he was just special. He was unique in many, many ways. Extremely knowledgeable, very learned, very earnest towards his craft. I've seen the boy physically train himself beyond, like, there were days where I was like, how is he doing this? Like, and the film was very action intense, and the language, everything, and I don't know. I mean, he was how do I describe him? He was special. In many, many ways, a great co-actor to work with. Gave me so much in every scene, because most of my scenes were with him. Gave me so much fodder to feed off, because you can do everything, but if you don't have a co-actor that respects you as an actor and who understands that, okay, this probably is your moment in the scene and you need to have it, and who's not insecure, it's a blessing. And Sushant was all of those things.
I mean, we spoke about briefly, we touched upon Inside Outsider. That really became a debate after he passed away, right?
Yeah.
But it was an unnecessary debate only because he was pure merit-based actor.
100%.
Like, started with television, mainstream television, then middle of the road films, and then mainstream films. It was the way anybody does any job, right? You don't start at the top. You keep going up, and he got all those opportunities. In your case, you have an even more interesting way to have entered the movies, right? Like, you entered as a casting director.
Yes.
With YRF.
Yes.
Getting a monthly salary?
Of 7,000 rupees when I started.
7,000 rupees?
7,000 rupees
How are you
when I
supposed to
started.
make a living with 7,000
I
rupees?
did. For me, it was a lot of money.
It's less than what a guard gets paid, by the way. At that time also, I'm sure.
Yeah, maybe. But for me, it kept me... It felt like a lot.
But that was
my first check. Oh, then
what was the last check as a casting? I want people to know this, because a lot of people think...
I think it was 150,000.
That's not bad.
Yeah, it was 150,000, and a lot of credit goes to Shanu, because she truly championed me in every way.
You need a good boss.
You need a good boss. And she was a mentor, I think, more than anything else. And because I've grown up in YRF.
Oh, yeah.
That's
6
where
years, right?
It was about 4 years behind the camera, and then Dam Laga Ke Haisha, and then many years of them managing me. It was, I learned everything then. And also YRF happened to me at a time when I needed grounding. And that's why that 7,000 rupees felt like 70 crores. At that point, because I needed that 7,000 rupees to survive. And because I wasn't taking any money from home, it was just me, and I was...
And that's because you rebelled.
I did, and also because my father was unwell, there was a lot going on at home, and I just felt like...
You don't want to add to it.
I don't want to add to it.
Yeah.
I did not want to add to it in any way. And
how did you land this job?
Oh my God, it's such a fun story. So I was thrown out of film school, which was Whistling Woods, because my attendance was very poor.
Quickly, before you speak anything else about Whistling Woods, because it's been playing on your mind, you were thrown out of Whistling Woods because you didn't make the attendance, right? Did they ever call you back as the star that you are? Because that would be such a full circle, right?
Recently.
Oh, you did? Nice.
Very, very recently. I've still not gone there, but I recently was invited. And it literally happened because I told CC, who's been in Whistling Woods for years,
Chaitanya.
I was like, Chaitanya, I was like, why haven't you invited me? I was like, I understand you threw me out, and rightly so, right? But why haven't you invited me? I said, I'm a part of your alumni. Shouldn't I be there? And then they called me, but I haven't had an opportunity to go back yet.
Right. But anyway, that's full circle.
Yeah.
They throw you out, but they invited you as a guest lecturer.
Absolutely.
Or a chief guest at an event, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So then...
Sorry, I'm just going to have a sip of water.
Yeah. Branding चल रहा है, आपका खुद का brand है.
बिल्कुल नहीं चल रहा है. That's why I've kept it down. But it's literally the only water I drink.
No, fair enough. I'm just kidding. Sorry, where were we? We were at
Yeah.
the point where you joined YRF and how
So-
you landed the job.
After I was thrown out of Whistling Woods, I realized I have like it was a big. I was shaken because I was like, okay, because I'd fought at home, I had the student loan on me. It was a lot of money, right? And I was like, how am I going to repay this? मैंने तो बहुत अकड़ में बोल
How much
दिया
was
था. The course for 2 years, I think it was 13 lakhs.
That's a lot, don't you
That's
think?
a lot, and
For
I
the fact
was.
that your starting salary is 7,000 rupees.
Yeah. It was a lot, and that's why I needed that money. So I would pay, I think, about 4,000 rupees as my EMI. And the rest was like for my rickshaw, save puri, all whatever. I was a teenager.
Fair
I was
enough.
nothing.
Yeah,
I was a 17-year-old
You can
girl.
live on 100 rupees a day.
Yeah. And then,
Pretty
you
much.
know, I
Figure
mean,
it
I
out.
had rich friends, so they took care of
You need rich friends to survive. That's true.
They were really
That's true,
kind.
yeah.
They're still some of my closest friends. And they still take care of me. So
Fair enough.
kudos to them. But I
have a few friends
survived.
like that. I mean, they're not rich. I am rich for them. Because they're all trying to figure out. It's so
Yeah.
hard to figure out in the movies, right?
Yeah.
Until then, what do you do?
It's tough,
you,
man.
You know, you just buy them a drink at least. That's the least you can do.
That's the least you can do.
Yeah.
Shanu was she's funded a lot of my nights at WTF.
Whoa.
And, but
But she also enters with her entourage, huh?
yeah,
Shanu?
yeah.
I've seen her
I was
travel,
heading
yeah.
that entourage.
Oh, well done. Yeah.
I was heading that entourage then. But anyway, so a friend of mine who worked, what was that film with Saifsa and Kareena ma'am?
Qurban is the
Qurban.
Is the Dharma film, yeah.
Qurban.
Yeah.
So this friend of mine, somebody that I knew from back in the day, you know, from when I was hustling, going cafe to cafe, just this AD boy that I'd met who later became a good friend of mine. And he was the chief AD on Qurban.
Okay.
And he told me YRF starting a department, a casting department, because there were no casting directors then. Abhimanyu Ray was literally one of the first few casting directors, and of course there was Shanu,
Right.
then who kind of started around the same time. But YRF is the first large production house or
To
studio.
have a casting department.
Yeah, that
Right.
dedicated a department to casting, which is incredible. You know, they've honestly created a revolution. बहुत दुआएं मिलेंगी उनको बहुत actors की, because at least
वैसे भी
there's a
मिलेंगी,
system.
हाँ,
हाँ, but at least there's a system. You
Right.
know, that they started a system. Anyways, and I went and I had a resume that only had like me, whatever, I'd done my A levels and studying simultaneously, but thrown out of film school because of lack of attendance. So that doesn't say a lot about my great personality or my work ethic. So I went in for this interview and I clearly did not impress Abhimanyu sir at all. And I did not get the job. Then I was still like, you know, hustling, doing everything possible. Wherever they would be like, there's an opening, I would reach, because I just did not want to get into the traditional forms of education. I was very clear, I'm going to be in the movies.
Yeah.
I also had a bit of a shift then. I was like, चल ठीक है, actor नहीं, मैं director तो बन ही जाऊंगी, writer बन जाऊंगी, कुछ भी कर लूंगी, रहूंगी फिल्मों में.
Right.
Then two months after that interview, I got a call from Abhimanyu sir's assistant, this wonderful gentleman called Abhishek. He called me and he's like, you know, he's this guy from Allahabad and spoke to me in Thet, you know, Hindi, and you know, he's done Hindi theatre. Well,
Hardcore.
very talented, hardcore guy. And he told me कि आपकी ज़रूरत है, आप आ जाओ. जिनको हमने हायर किया था, उन महिला ने ये तय किया है कि वो अमेरिका जाके पढ़ना चाहेंगी और हमें आज चाहिए. अगर आ सकते हो तो आ जाओ, वरना हम किसी और से. मैंने कहा मैं अभी आ रही हूँ, अभी आ रही हूँ, आप किसी और को मत लेना. And that's it, man. That's how I landed the job. I wasn't their first choice. Let's just.
What's it like to have a job in the movies? And I'm also asking you this because most people perceive movies to be a place where everyone's just a struggler. But no, you could work in a place, right? You could have a regular job like anywhere else.
Look, once you crack it, then it's a proper 9 to 5 job if you're
Right.
not on set, right? Like I would be in office
And a paycheck at the end
10
of the
o'clock
month, like-
on time.
On time.
That's also because of where I was, right?
And why-
YRF
maybe
is
the only one like that, right?
maybe
A fully integrated
maybe. I mean,
studio
honestly, I've
in
not
Bombay.
really worked in that capacity
Anywhere else. Yeah.
I've only been with them,
Yeah.
and my experience there was incredible. But yeah, it's like a corporate job with a lot of creativity in it, and I had a blast. I got to cast for Shimit Amin. I got to cast for
Like, who are your big
Manish
finds?
Sharma. My finds, I mean, I can't like credit that to myself.
Sure, but when you were there,
I
that
was
was
a
being
part. Ranveer,
Ranveer Singh.
Pariniti.
So you saw their first audition.
Ranveer especially, I was a very, very integral part of his process. Like on YouTube, if you see his audition,
His
like
first audition.
I'm there. Like
You're
I'm the
there.
one who's queuing him.
Band Baja
for
Barat,
Band
or what
Baja
is he
Barat.
reading?
Band Baja Barat. That
Line
scene,
from-
I think that scene is Band Baja Barat. That scene is it's like a fight between him and Anushka, and they are basically fighting over some color palette at the wedding, and she's like lavender hair, lavender hi rahega, and it goes on. I remember it faintly now because I also auditioned to that scene. Crazy.
You auditioned for the part as well?
No. Later, when they were auditioning me for Dam Laga Ke
They
Haisha,
gave you
the
some
scenes
lines.
from Band Baja kind of become iconic.
So you knew this guy before he became a star, obviously.
He was exactly this.
You know, I've had Karan Johar sitting exactly where you are, and I asked him this question, what's he on? Then there's a brand of his, some food brand of his, Super You or
Super You.
something. They've taken that line and put it in the ad.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you the same
Incredible,
question again.
man.
What's he on?
Dude, I think he is just high on himself.
Yeah?
I remember the first day Ranveer Singh entered office, it was like the energy shifted.
Really?
Yeah, and dude, you're like a newcomer who's coming for an audition.
Yeah.
Where do you get that chutzpah from? I've not seen anything like so. I've not seen anything like that before my Ranveer Singh experience. I remember he's wearing a white shirt and blue jeans, and he's just anokha. And so talented. I think a lot of that comes. I'm a very big Ranveer Singh fan. So you started like a topic, and I'm in my adult life. I think it takes a lot for an actor to actually, and a lot of that happened after 93 and Rocky Rani. I thoroughly, madly
83,
enjoyed.
you mean? Yeah.
God, 83. I don't want to be. I don't want cricket fans coming after me. But 83 and Rocky Rani. And then of course I thoroughly enjoyed him in Dhurandhar. But I was like, this guy can do anything. Loved him in Lutera, Band Baja. He was phenomenal. I think he's great. He is as much a chameleon as any actor should be.
What about the other finds? The ones you saw before they became...
You know, Pankaj ji. My God.
Pankaj Tripathi. You saw him audition.
Divyendu. I was a part of all of these auditions. I've been so fortunate that was also my school, Mayank. That I got an opportunity to run lines with Pankaj ji. When does that happen? Right? And Divyendu. You're so, my God, like there's so many people. Vani. Pariniti.
Was Pariniti your colleague then? Because
No. She did with our buildings. Like we were in Ajivasan in Juhu, which was nothing like YRF Studios. But she worked there. I did not know of her until she was called into audition.
So she worked from another office.
Yeah.
Oh, not from the studio itself.
No.
But she was an employee like you were.
Yeah, right? She was kind of cool. I think that became a thing. Then a lot of people must have like wanted to work in YRF.
Yeah, I know, right? Could you
do a corporate job?
Yeah.
Who else? Vicky.
Vicky Kaushal.
Vicky Kaushal, Sunny. These names I just feel like in those years, maybe like from 2011 until 2010 until like 2013, whoever was
You've seen them from
most
scratch.
Most of them. It's so, it's fun, because I meet so many people that now that probably are doing like a beautiful part in any of my films, and they're like, "Aapne hamara audition liya tha, bahut maza aaya tha hame," and I'm like, okay, I was a baby, man.
So when you're in YRF, is there a specter of Aditya Chopra around? Like, oh my God, there's this mythical figure who sort of runs the studio, and I mean, there is that perception outside of the studio in any case, right?
What's he
like? Or what was it like being there?
He's incredible.
Okay. Tell me more about him.
I don't think there's ever been an authoritative figure in my life apart from him, going away from my family, of course.
Sure.
Because he was my first boss. Even today, if I see him, I'm immediately going to stand up, and I probably won't be able to sit until, and it's not him, it's me, because I was 17 and he's just been my boss since then.
Super boss. And then that turned into mentorship, right? And that turned into him being an integral part of where I am in my life. He's just a genius. Look at what he's created. And he's a visionary. He was doing shows before... What became OTTs. You did one of them, right?
I did all of them. I cast for all of those shows. Mahi Way, Seven, Rishta.com, Powder, So I've cast for so many films, man. Like it was, I'd done about 15 or 16 pieces of work till Dam Laga Ke Haisha
But what's he
happened.
like to be, like to meet as a boss?
He's chill. He's chill. He has clarity. He is inclusive. He wants to hear what you have to say.
Why do you think he never wants to come out in public?
I don't know.
What can explain this?
I don't know. I think what kind of keeps his genius alive is the fact that he's so disconnected, which I think is so incredible. I think most artists should be.
Right.
But I don't think...
There's no distraction in his life. It's really his work and
and just the whole YRF institution is really abundant. You know, there are incredible people in there. It's like a world within a world. You know, it's just like you enter those gates and the studio is busting. I remember one of my first time. So I joined right when Rab Ne Bana Di Jodi was to release. So when the post was happening. My first time that I went on to the third floor, you know, that's where like all your directors and actors would hang. It's like the third and the fourth floor. The first.
So which floor is Aditya Chopra's corner
Sir
office?
I'm scared. Am I giving away?
No, it doesn't matter. No one can enter that studio in any case.
No. So fourth floor. Adi sir is on the fourth floor. Do you see? Like I'm still like, am I talking a lot about Adi sir? It's on the fourth floor. But I remember the first time I went on to the third floor.
He's like a Mohabbat ka principal, na? Like Amitabh Bachchan from Mohabbat.
No, he's cool. You know, I think it's like, it's me and... Anyways, I'm going to go back to my story.
So you get to the third and the fourth floor.
And Mayank, that experience is still so alive and it still feels so real because it was like I was Alice in Wonderland. You know, I was just so enamored. I'd seen Ranveer Kapoor.
Ranveer Kapoor hanging somewhere else.
Yeah, and
playing table tennis perhaps.
And I remember Adi sir had just crossed me because he had like some edit studios to your right as, I mean, they cut some trailers, etc. Then right as you come up the stairs, and there was a canteen and people were eating. And I was like, this is so cool. There was so much food. You know, there's this table tennis table, there's this TT table, and it just, you know, it was my fantasy of what old Hollywood was. You know, just like creative juices flowing, incredible directors, and just, this is where it all happens. And everyone's just chilling. Like nobody is really being heavy about being who they are. And yeah, it was just amazing, man. When I, even casting for Rocket Singh, it was
you
like
cast Ranveer Kapoor for
please, not at all. Ranveer was already Ranveer, and but one of my first I was a very big Shamit Amin fan because of Chak De.
Yes.
And when I read Rocket Singh, I didn't know it was his script, you know, because they were still very like, whatever, they're not secretive, they just want to like kind of protect the authenticity. And this would be Jaideep Sahni's script,
who would be an employee there as well.
Anyway, so I read it and I had no idea, and then they were like, okay, we have to start casting and whatever. We done like a basic. So the process with Abhimanyu sir would be that you kind of go through your data bank and you come up with a list of people that you think might fit this until you go out and actually start exploring, auditioning, and we did crazy things to cast people.
Okay.
And that time, I mean, you obviously had the internet, but you had Facebook, right? I would spend hours trying to look at interesting faces. You know, I would travel the country. I've gone to Banaras, Lucknow, Jaipur, multiple, just me, a camera and a production guy, right? I would like conduct 1,500, 2,000 auditions in a day just by myself. This is where my training happened, you know. But anyways, coming back to my Rocket Singh story, and they're like, okay, the director is gonna come. I was like, hoga koi naya, whatever. And then I see Shamit Amin enter, and it was literally like, it was a moment for me because I love him so much, and I was also a film student then, you know, just thrown out of whistling woods, whatever, young, like, you know, junoon, sab seekhna hai, sab karna. Again, an incredible casting experience. And I remember this one time we were in YRF and we were presenting options and whatever, showing auditions, etc. And Ranveer Kapoor just like walked into the room. He's like, hi guys. And I was like, I love this place.
You know what I find equally fascinating is for your first film, you were also casting for your own role.
Yes.
You were the casting director for the same role that you were vying for.
Yes.
Is that how it worked?
It did. And, you know, kudos to Sharat Kataria, my director. He directed phenomenal. I'm just waiting for his next piece of work to come out. He directed Dam Laga Ke Haisha because he did not want to take me because I worked in YRF. He's like, look, she's a Bombay girl. She's Bombay born and bred. My Hindi was always good thanks to my mum and all the literature and schooling. A lot of credit goes to my school as well. But she's still a Bombay girl. He wanted to go as authentic as he could. He was like, okay, she's going to gain the weight, but let's see if there are girls that authentically... And he did go through that process. But what I did was I started gaining the weight even before I got the film. Right? So it was 3 months of me auditioning, and I think... And it literally was down to...
Like hogging.
I was was like, I'll do whatever it takes,
Yeah.
you know, because I'm a survivor. I'm going to fight till I can to get something. I think I had a lot more jazba then than I do now, because now, you know, you're still like, nahi, nahi, kaise kar sakti hu, whatever. And 3 months of him auditioning me, other girls, and it literally came down to like me and this other phenomenal actor. I'm not going to name anyone. And, you know, but she was already working.
So there was a final two.
Final two.
And the second one became a star as well? Or was that person a debutant? Or
No. She was already a working actor.
already
She
a working
still
actor?
works.
Well-known actor.
And a great actor.
Yeah.
Phenomenal actor. And there were many a times that I was queuing her for her auditions. You know, because he put both of us through a lot of like rounds just to be sure that he has the best option for that character. And it was 3 months of doing this. I would spend hours auditioning other girls through the day. I've traveled to find girls for Dam Laga Ke Haisha. I think we went to Delhi. Yeah, I think it was just Delhi. And it was an interesting period. But you know, I'm just a very earnest person. I'm also very righteous. I've always chosen the righteous paths. But I did not ever let... When I was working, when I was casting, I was earnestly finding an option. But when I was doing my thing, I put in 100% into making sure that I'm the best girl there.
So your Hindi, you said, comes from your mum and your school.
Yes.
The school would be
AVM, Arya Vidya Mandir.
Arya Vidya Mandir, which I'm given to believe is a very Bollywood school. It's got a lot of Bollywood people.
That's right. Like when I was growing up, it did. Sonam Kapoor, Riya, Arjun
Kapoor,
Sonakshi Sinha.
Arjun Kapoor you work with?
Arjun Kapoor is also a very, very dear friend of mine. No, I did not know any of them in school.
Oh, okay.
No. They were a couple of years senior. So, you know, in school, like, usually a 10th grader will not interact with a 5th or 6th grader.
Older than they are when you're in school, right?
Correct.
Like between 7th and 10th, oh my God, these are old people.
Yeah. But I did not know, like, but we were aware of Sonam Kapoor's presence. We knew she is
She was always Anil Kapoor's daughter.
And she was, and she was like, also cool. She was cool.
Yeah.
I was very excited because she actually came and taught us, you know, every teacher's day, you would have your seniors come teach you. They would wear saris and, you know, her and Riya both have taught me at some point in school.
On Teachers' Day?
On Teachers' Day.
Where they pretend to be teachers.
Yeah, where they pretend to be teachers.
Right.
Which I'd forgotten, and then I just remember because Riya and I have done a film together and I was like, bro, you know, this had happened. She's like, oh my God. Yeah.
Anybody else became a movie star or became associated with films from your school? From around your years? No.
Not that I'm...
Priyanka Chopra's brother was in your school?
Yes, he was. But that was, thank you so much. That was later though. That was when I was doing my A-levels.
Right.
After AVM.
Oh, so not the same school?
Not the same school. It was a different school, and I've loved her since she existed in the movies.
You know,
I don't know.
In this whole conversation, from where I am looking at you, and because you seeded that in my head, I'm seeing so much Priyanka Chopra is nuts.
I did not see that in your head, but I also feel a lot of that could be because I admire her.
Yeah.
And I don't
know,
know,
like
man.
You model yourself or not? Would that be correct to say? And that's fine.
Don't know.
She's a great role model.
No, 100%. And I've been very vocal about how that I really truly admire her. But I think I've tried to create my own identity. But even if I do imbibe things from her, I think she's a great person to imbibe things from.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm not ashamed of it. I'm not somebody who gets offended. I'm like, yeah, maybe. You know, she is amazing. She is brilliant.
I watched this interview of yours where you
with her.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's a conversation more than interview at Mammy.
Yeah, and I did not stop. She's like, Bhumi, it's been 1.5 hours.
No, but it is fabulous. It is fabulous in the sense of how I can see admiration, but at the same time, it's not fawning. It's still, you're still interested in what you do. It's not a fangirling because that's boring, right? Much as you admire her. And she was once, and that's when I realized that she was once chief guest at a performance where you were in school.
Mayank, she remembered that. So there was this certain gathering that we were at. This was just like maybe I was at 2 years into me being an actor, and I think she just moved there after Dam Laga Ke. It was 2019, I remember this very clearly. There was a certain social gathering that we were at, not a formal one, an informal one. And she meets me, and she was very warm, and I was like, okay, she knows me maybe because of my films. And obviously I was so excited. And she's like, I'll never forget that you stared at me at that annual day and danced for 20 minutes. I'm like, how the
wow.
Like, how do you remember that? And she's incredible, you know. And I think when you are a star like her and you can create this sort of impact, that was a learning for me, you know, that I want to make sure that everybody that I meet, be it a fan, be it an admirer, be it a filmmaker that I worked with, a co-star, or just a stranger who doesn't probably know me, I want them to remember me in the best way possible, because that's the experience she gave me. And I was amazed.
So when you became the lead actor with your first film, you know, there are certain rites of passage with Bollywood. One of them is that Amitabh Bachchan sends you a letter sometimes.
I've not received
has
that
not
yet,
happened.
man.
But
No,
when
I'm
did you,
waiting
like,
for it.
When did you feel acceptance? Because it's also a wire film. So it's not like some, you know, indie film that people began to watch. It was...
See, acceptance is
or
a
just the fact
very...
that, oh my God, you know me? That happens, right? I mean, like a...
That happened actually. You see, my first film was so widely watched.
Yeah.
It was so loved. You know, I felt that literally the day it released.
Like the second rite of passage for a lot of people in Bollywood is that they've danced at inside Mannat. Like
I mean, yeah.
Being invited to a Shah Rukh Khan party.
100%.
happened?
That has happened, and it was probably one of my most incredible experiences. Because again, I experienced an individual who is just great. He is just great. When he's with you,
He texted you to say, hey, come over.
with you.
I really enjoy
So
your
I
come
met
over
him
for a party.
in YRF actually, and he really appreciated me a lot for my film, and I couldn't believe what was happening, because this is Shah Rukh Khan, and I was like, you've seen my film? No, this was a little later,
Okay.
maybe a
He was
few
visiting.
months. Yeah, I don't remember the details of how it happened, because I wasn't really prepared to have a Shah Rukh Khan experience. And I was like, so I think he was shooting for a film in YRF, and it was just like in the cafeteria, one of those things that happened. And because I don't remember a lot of it, because I was in a state of shock that he knew who I was. So a large part of that conversation is a blur. But he invited me, and it was incredible, because just the way he makes you feel. And there was a lot of love in that room, and again, a lot of learning. I think when you meet people that are in places like him, what I am seeking is learning, right? Because what impresses you is how humble this person is. You know, like while he's speaking with you, there could be anybody in his periphery, but he is with you. You know, that's respect. That's character. You know, and we've obviously heard like legendary stories about how he'll come receive you, how he'll come drop you, and all of that is true. And there was literally a moment where I was like, okay, if Sir doesn't go in, my driver's not going to drive, because, you know, what do? Like Shah Rukh Khan just standing there. So you have to wait. So I don't know what's like the right etiquette around it, right? But there was a point where I had to tell him, bas chalo aap, koi baat nahi, chalo, because you don't know what to do.
Wow. That's see, so that's out of the two, one is already happening.
Yeah.
To you.
Oh, the second one will also happen.
Yeah.
I really, really hope. But also, like, it's a very big motivation in my life. I'm waiting for that letter. Yeah.
Coming to you, and the other thing that fascinates me about you, Bhumi, is actually your family.
Yeah.
Right? And of course, you mentioned your mum earlier.
Many a
for
time.
a bit, yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, about how your Hindi comes from your mum. And she's from Haryana, if I'm not mistaken. Her maiden name is Huda. Are you related to Randeep Huda by any chance?
We actually are distant. We are connected.
Oh, so there is a trivia here.
Oh yeah. They 100%
You're a distant cousin of Randeep
Yes,
Huda?
there is. So basically, all Hudas belong to a certain area in Haryana, and you all are connected. So it's just the way.
So
it
you
is.
are. I mean,
Yes.
in some form or the other.
I actually. So one of my mamas was getting married, and I was quite young then, like probably whatever, like not even a teenager. And at that time, Monsoon Wedding had just released. And it was a big deal because he was my mama's friend. And I have a very like clear memory of him at that wedding. Cool, kind of cool.
Yeah,
great
very
actor.
Cool, very cool. And what a great film, yeah.
Yeah, what a
Monsoon,
great
what a
film,
what a film. It's
man.
not
What
been
a great
matched
film.
even now.
No,
Like,
no.
nothing comes close
No.
to that.
No.
A lot of attempts have been made since, of course.
Yeah.
The other thing is your dad. You know, I got to learn only recently that your dad was a very active politician.
Yes, he was. I did not see him in his in that phase of his life because he quit politics right about the time that I came into this world for personal reasons. He had his own, and so I did not see him in that
mold.
In that mold. He was also very young when he became a minister. I think he was all of 27 or 28.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, very, very young. He was actually one of the youngest ministers
in
Maharashtra. And but I unfortunately did not see him in service.
But he was an MLA, and which means he would have a constituency that he would have nurtured over time. It's not easy to become an MLA.
No, and that too, he was an MLA from Parel.
Parel.
You know, which is like a very intense constituency in Mumbai. Yeah. Yeah, but I do wish that, you know, I mean, there are pictures. I also lost my father many years ago. I was still an adult, like a young adult when that happened. So I have a lot of memory, like I have a good share of memories with him. But I do vicariously kind of like peep into that life of his through pictures, through colleagues of his that I meet. And I constantly meet people that worked with him then. He was very, very loved.
Was politics, or has politics ever been something that's interested you as a career option? Because at least you've seen it in your house.
I just feel like service and giving back, and I say it in the most humble way, is a very big part of who I am, my upbringing, the values that have been passed on to us from both sides of my family, right? My parents actually met at a youth congress gathering.
Oh, wow.
You know, so my mum
They
was...
were both activists in
Yeah.
the Congress
My
Party.
mum was
Young
a
activists.
journalist. She was studying journalism then, or she just passed out one of those, and she was a part of Youth Congress in Haryana, and that's how they'd met. So, you know, I
So
just
he
feel
went
like...
from Maharashtra and
Yeah.
Oh,
And
wow.
so
What a lovely romance.
I know. So I just feel like it's in my blood, and I love my country. I have a very, very big patriotic side to me. I've always had. So if I get an opportunity to serve it in any capacity, why not, man? Like, you know, I want to do better. I want my country to flourish. And I think even the movies that I do truly does come from that intention. You know, not all of them, but a large part of the cinema that I resonate with or that I've been a part of kind of does come from, it is my way of also living in a world where I truly hope that my country shines the brightest.
We all do, of course. But you know what separates you from most actors that I can think of is you have a life outside of the films, and a pretty active life.
Yes.
And I don't mean just social life, but even like I follow you on Instagram, and you know I can see you in some convention in a what is that? Give me like a sense of that life. Like you are part of the young
global leaders.
Yeah, what is that? What is a young global leader?
So,
is it like a young people's Illuminati and they all?
I know it sounds like a cult, but it's not. You know, dude, it's a incredible cohort of people that come from different walks of life. I think a common thread between all of us is that we lead our life by impact and we are successful. But by successful, I don't mean that all of us have like $1 billion in our accounts. No, whatever industry we're a part of, we have created impact in that industry, not just for ourselves, but for ecosystems that surround us. I think they recognized me because of a lot of the climate work that I'd done and my movies, you know. So what this group primarily does is it's a subgroup with the World Economic Forum, where they choose young individuals under the age of 40. Every year, I think there are about 20 that are chosen from across the globe. So you have, you have incredible.
So you apply for this and you?
No, they reach out to you. Somebody nominates you, and later I found out who nominated me. I had no idea who they are.
Who nominated you?
He was just... So I had spoken to this wonderful friend of mine called Ameya during COVID for Climate Week that happens in New York. But it was all... what is the word when it happens on Zoom? Virtual.
Yeah.
It was all virtual, and it was a very interesting conversation, and that stayed with him. And he went and he nominated me, obviously did a fair bit of research on my films. He'd seen my films, etc., and he felt like, okay, I could be of influence and I could actually contribute to the group. So, you know, you have some crazy people. Actually, I don't think crazy is the right word for me to use, but you have like Emmanuel Macron, you have the ex-Prime Minister of New Zealand. From India, you have some incredible people, like climate activists.
Activists.
No actors.
Even like political leaders?
No actors. Yeah. Smriti Irani was a YGL. Aditya Thackeray is a YGL. Raghav Chadda is a YGL. These are all the ones that I know.
And these are the ones from politics.
Yes, these are the ones from politics. You have some incredible new founders. You have, people that belong to legacy entrepreneurial families that have genuinely, through their leadership tried to create change within existing systems by their CSR activities, or tried to like, include positive practices within their systems. So you have some incredible group of people globally.
And they meet
that
at Davos? Or how does it work?
yeah, so it happens at Davos.
Okay.
A smaller group goes to Davos. I had an opportunity to go last year. I also had an opportunity to go study. I did a course, an executive course at Harvard, thanks to this group.
How long was this course?
It was 21 days.
Okay.
Incredible.
Yeah.
It was around global policy and leadership.
Did as well,
I'm not aware. I don't think so, because I know she's a YGL, but I don't know how much, if she's interacted enough.
Yeah.
Because I think it also happened when she was like in the thick of her term.
Yes.
You know. Anyway, I'm not sure of that.
That's
but
fine.
I had a great opportunity to go study. So honestly, for me, the last 2 years have pretty much been about recalibrating what I want the rest of my life to be. And this community has helped me with that a lot. I anyways have been very active with all my philanthropic work. Very, very fortunate to have people that, like for example, the little girl from Sonchiriya, Khushi, she's a very active part of my life, and the ashram that she belonged to is an ashram that I've been associated with since 2017. It's in Chambal. That's where we were shooting, in Morena.
Right.
And it's the ashram is made up of children that are that belong to vulnerable ecosystems, environments. A lot of them are rescued because
You actually cast from there.
we cast from there. It's Chaube.
Right.
So that little girl who plays Sonchiriya is cast from an ashram in Chambal. He's just that's filmmaker.
Right,
it was incredible, and I got an opportunity to spend 4 months with her. I did not know there was a maternal side in me. I was 27 when I was, or 26. I did not know a stranger who I know is an actor working with me on a film can make me feel those. That film changed my life in so many ways. It's such a fulfilling feeling, and I might sound like, but I genuinely say it in the most humble way, the fact that I've seen real impact on these kids, from them. And this organization is so great. It's called Abhyudaya Ashram. I did not take their name because if there are any of your viewers that would want to come out and support them, why not? It basically rescues kids from a community called Beria community, where culturally women are pushed into business and men become dacoits. I mean, now they've obviously like evolved into doing smaller jobs because there's been a lot of like fixing within the community. But the gentleman that started Abhyudaya Ashram is the flag bearer for all the change that's happened in the community. They still have a long way to go, but they basically rescued kids, gave them education, security, a home, respect.
These are orphans almost, right?
Most of them are rescued kids. The parents actually want them to be a part of, the systems that they are already a part of. Because you've actually taken away their bread and butter. That's what this organization is doing. And I've been so fortunate, Mayank, to have had these kids in my life because they've given me so much perspective. Even when I have a bad day, I get a message from the ashram every day. Good morning, Didi, kaise ho aap? Didi, we love you. Something Didi will reach me. And it's just a good feeling, man. Like one of the girls from our ashram, she actually competed in competitive exams and she got into a very big management organization. 2 of them are studying medicine. These are small wins, but it means a lot to me. And so the last 2 years have been quite incredible, and I think it's giving me a lot of perspective, on the movies that I want to do, the kind of actor I want to be in the next decade, and also the impact I want to create. I think for me today, it's a lot about, I think the first part of my career was about making a space for myself where I had to be loud and just like do whatever.
Get the attention first.
Because I wanted people to know that I'm here.
Correct.
But I think this part of my career is about being quiet, being silent, and having real impact. And a lot of my work off screen contributes to that. It keeps me sane.
There's entrepreneurship also.
Oh my God, I love it.
This is water.
I love
water
it.
Brand. We can talk about it.
We can.
You and your sister on this?
Yes, me and my sister. It's called Samiksha.
You know what? I think your sister should have taken up as a job, a movie critic. I'll tell you why.
Tell me.
Because she would have got a name and the profession. Samiksha is critique, right?
Yeah. And I don't know what was my father thinking when he named us, because she is also a very critical person. She critiques me a lot. She's a lawyer,
Sure,
she
fair
was
enough.
I was like, dude, how did he get this vision that his daughter Bhumi, I'm all about the environment and about I'm a climate advocate. There's a lot of advocacy in me.
Sure.
Let's keep it to that. And he's named her Samiksha. I said, I don't know, what were you thinking? I think he manifested this life for both of us.
And it's not a bad thing.
It's a
I think a
great
lot of
thing.
people think that critic comes from criticism. It doesn't.
No.
It comes from critical thinking,
Absolutely.
which all of us should hopefully do.
Yeah, but Mayank, I also feel like I don't know if there's a lot of critical thinking in the movies today.
Yeah.
I think there has been, and I've seen it very evidently, I think there's been a big shift in the way people are speaking of films.
Okay. Explain.
Critiquing films. I feel like today everybody is a critic, right? Like, I don't know if they come from any sound information of cinema, of movies, it's also a study, right? Like in Whistling Woods, we were taught film,
Appreciation,
it was film appreciation.
Yes,
it's
absolutely.
a legit
Yeah.
course,
Yeah.
right? It comes
Yeah.
from a sound
And you learn
place.
every day. You
Correct,
watch a
like a
lot.
DOP
Yeah.
is learning that craft. An actor sometimes is learning the craft. An editor, there is something to it. I don't know how many people come from that sound place today, and that's why I just feel like it's become a little voyeuristic in nature. Where you get very, very personal, and I don't think there are very few names where there is credibility left. And it's sad because when I started, I would wait for reviews. It was such a high for me. The reason I went through my Sonchariya experience was because I had reviewers that I loved and critics that I loved the film. So you can sail through it, right? Today, a film success, the majority of it is dependent on your Friday. And I don't even know how much of that is real. Right? So you've already decided the fate of a film by its opening numbers. When did that happen?
Yeah.
When did opening numbers matter?
And the critics anyway,
And by critics, I mean everybody is a critic today on the internet, right?
I mean, technically everyone's a consumer, so it's a consumer review. But I think a critique is a little deeper than that.
100%, 100%. But the way it's presented is whatever online review.
पिट गई है.
But they
smash कर दिया. ये सब movie है. वो क्या किसी को smash करेगा?
and
क्या
I
पिट
think-
गया है वो?
Correct.
It's a bizarre.
And I would enjoy reading reviews, and there's still like a bunch that I enjoy reading. But
I did not pay her.
No. You not at all. And that's why I was
afford
like,
her anyway. So.
but there are so many, like especially on Twitter. I mean, I'm off X
Yeah, but I
now.
think there's a sense, and that's how social media works, where you take the most extreme viewpoint, and the algorithm sort of incentivizes you to take extreme viewpoints, and that's the one that keeps flying. So then there is this clickbaity culture.
100%.
एकदम ही दुनिया का सबसे घटिया फिल्म है या दुनिया का सबसे अच्छा फिल्म है, बीच में कुछ है ही नहीं.
नहीं. और पता मुझे बुरा क्या लगता है? मुझे लगता है जो मिड साइज और छोटी फिल्में
Yeah,
हैं, they were
and they
always
need the
meant to
support.
be word of mouth films. ठीक है, मैंने जितनी फिल्में करी हैं, they all are word of mouth films. राजकुमार राव, आयुष्मान खुराना, मेरा, a lot of our actors, हमारा career बना है word of mouth films की वजह से. But if today, which means that on a Friday, a film did a smaller number but was accepted.
Yes.
Right? You gave the film an opportunity.
And then it grows from there.
It grows, and they
Yeah.
would stay in theaters for like 2 weeks,
Yeah.
3 weeks, and it would do a good number, right?
big
A
number.
good number for what that film deserves.
Yeah.
But
And how much is spent on it.
Yeah, and today those opportunities, you don't give a film an opportunity. That's why you have good films. Lapata, a film
Yeah,
that we spoke
yeah,
of,
yeah.
for example, that
Yeah.
maybe did not get a large number on that Friday, but you've not given that film an opportunity. And that
this is an
breaks
Amir Khan
my
production.
heart.
So I
Exactly.
can't even like get into other films in terms of other stables. Yeah.
Exactly. And I just feel like there is, I mean, if as an actor, I was to make a wish, forget an actor, just a member of the Hindi
Yeah.
film fraternity, I was to make a wish of, I mean, we are clearly going through a massive transition, right?
Yeah.
And I feel a large part of that is that I think we just need to collectively, with unity, go away from just PR that is just fueled. It's exhausting. You're not really giving newer voices an opportunity to come in. Because if you are not getting 15 crores, double digit, whatever, like those numbers, then you're not a film worthy for an audience to come into. you know, or just like the narratives that are spun on the internet. It's the wild, wild west, man. It is a crazy place to be today. And yeah.
Do you go check Reddit and shit like that?
I'm not on Reddit, thank God,
thank
because
God,
I think it would really, really.
Twitter maybe?
I'm not even on X, I'm only on Instagram. And I really enjoy the platform because I consume a lot of my knowledgeable like tidbits from Instagram as well. My algorithm today is very clean because I've literally gone and said not interested, not interested, not interested. I don't want to know.
That. Yeah, you gotta do that.
I don't want to know what's happening in any other actor's life. Yeah. I don't want to know. Obviously, it sneaks in here and there because at times things snowball and they become so big and the internet just works like that. That it does reach me, but I'm like, no, declutter, don't want to know. I want to know about the climate. I want to know about like what's happening with dogs. My algorithm is full of makeup, fashion, food, politics, travel, puppies. Life's good.
No films?
No, there are films, but I don't have film gossip.
Fair.
You know, but I feel like everything around us today is gossip. What is it that I'm connecting with? What material am I connecting with?
Yeah, even like you forget about films. You see the commentary on politics. Isne kaha, usne kaha. What does that have to do with my life?
Yeah.
You know, and then usne offend kar diya and whole day.
Yeah.
TV news is running the same thing.
But you know, I feel like on Instagram there are a lot of like interesting social media. I don't know what is it like. Interesting. What is
handles.
The word? Handles.
Yeah.
Handles. Interesting handles that kind of still don't dramatize everything as much. You know, so it's a great place, and also for like
and
just
you find
your geopolitical,
that's
you
important
find
for us.
them.
Yeah.
Also, just you know, to have a geopolitical point of view, which I feel is very, very important in the times that we're living in now.
Yeah.
So something that's happening in a South American country is going to have an impact on you.
Yeah.
That is just the way the world is today. And for me, I always kind of like, you know, keep an eye out for things.
Yeah, but you've actively sort of stayed away from knowing about films, which I find odd, but then I guess you mean gossip.
Gossip,
right?
but then you don't have
but
anything
movie,
else.
I mean, I'm sure you're a movie buff.
What do you have about, but my question to you is, what is it about the movies that you find on Instagram? It is either a Bollywood gossip thing, or there's paps, or there's somebody who's being trolled, and most times it could be a friend of mine or me, you know, or
it
also, could be all of us are. We all are
what
in
do they
the
troll
system.
You for?
Everything.
What have you done? Actually, people troll for no reason.
It can be everything. There's no logic to it, right? And you just realize that today your hot topic, in 15 days it's going to be somebody else, and that is just the nature of it. So the thing is that I'm not interested in that.
Like what they usually...
A bunch of things, man. Like it could be anything from my fashion has been very, people, I've caused a bit of a stir. I also feel that because of the films that I did in the first leg of my career, they were always so rooted in tier 2, tier 3, and those are the stories I still love. I've actually only done those stories. I think Royals and Thank You for Coming, of my filmography of 25 pieces of work, are the only two things where stories that didn't belong to tier 2 or tier 3
in
India.
Fact, Thank You for Coming, which would be what, 8 years after your debut, would be your first urban film.
Absolutely.
Like nothing before that you've done
nothing
anything
before that. And after that,
you're a proper Bombay girl.
I'm a proper Bombay girl. In fact, for me, every time I get a part that's set in Heartland, India, it's a bigger challenge, and that's why I enjoy those roles a lot more. Because playing an urban girl, I know these women. You know, I also have a very, my life is very full. And it's full of incredible people, incredible women, you know, disruptive women. So I know all of them. So it's easier for me to play that part than to play a part and to imbibe and to kind of like absorb morality or a value system of a girl who I don't know. You know, and I also feel I kind of flourish in those parts a lot more. It's been my reading of my work, of what I've liked and not liked.
To end on a filmy note.
Okay.
I'm wearing this t-shirt that says Satya, by the way. And it, I mean, besides the fact that it's hand-painted, I love this t-shirt. But I just
also
thought of
the
it.
Film.
Also the film. And so, you know, like when you're a movie critic and people don't know what conversation to make with you, they ask you, which is your favorite film? So just to make it easier, I just pick one and I always say Satya.
For me,
because I distinctly remember,
I love Rang De Basanti. I actually
have you
got
seen
a
it since?
book.
Have you been watching it since?
Yeah,
or
I
is it
do.
just the first time you watched it back in 2006? You can watch it again and again?
I can watch it again and again. In fact, I'm such a big fan that I actually had an opportunity of being with Rakesh sir in a room once. He'd called me for a film, and I got a book signed from him because there was a book on Rang De Basanti that was released. I love the film. I love what the film stands for. Obviously, I mean, it's the film's, it's just, I've lost words. Yeah, it had a huge impact on me. Also, I was a teenager, and I think because I do love my country in many, many ways, I resonated with it a lot. The craft, the way it was performed, the music, man. The music, I still listen. And in fact, there's this beautiful song in Rang De Basanti when Madhavan sir dies, and every time I'm trying to like get into a zone for a scene, I hear that song. It really like moves me. Kya batao kya? Arey, I'm so bad at singing, ma. How do I? Lukha Chuppi. My God, I listen to it literally every month. I was like, why have I blanked out on the song? Yeah, so I love Rang De Basanti. I think it is one of my most. I love Piku, but you only asked for one, so I'll stick to it.
I only asked for one. Bhumi Pednekkar, I wish you Rang De Basanti.
Thank you.
So much for this conversation.
Thank you so much. Thank you.